My name is Gianna Samaru, an intern at Graphic and Web Design area, and also presenting is Malik Salam, an intern in the Insurance and Finance area. We'd like to welcome all of our supporters and friends to the Spring PE Labs 2021 Business Showcase here at Pathways Academy of Technology and Design. I speak for everyone when we say that we're happy that you're here.
PELabs is an acronym for Pathways Entrepreneurial Labs, a program dedicated to providing the urban youth population of Greater Hartford area with hands-on experience in running businesses in the fields of advanced manufacturing, digital media, web design, graphic design, informational technology, social media marketing, cybersecurity, and insurance and finance. These industries are some of the quickest growing in the country.
Through this unique spring business internship, interns will learn skills in their chosen business focus area, develop professional and entrepreneurial skills and experience, build their professional network, resume, and portfolio. New this year is the ability of all interns acquiring entrepreneurial certification.
This internship was offered in a hybrid format over a period of 10 weeks. Each focus area team did convene one day in person and completed 2 days of virtual work each week. Each business focus area allowed the intern to explore various career options prior to graduation, meet with business professionals from relevant fields, participate in skill-based workshops, experience team-based and individualized learning, assess personal and professional interests and abilities in chosen fields of internship.
We would like to thank those who have made this internship possible financially: Travelers Insurance, Garlicky Foundation, and the Hartford NAV Foundation. We thank our partner Ready CT, whose focus is to build pathways to success for today's students, for making sure our program is staffed, funded, and relevant. We would also like to thank all of those who participated with their personal time by being of our Speakers Bureau, enhancement workshops, or project collaborators. Thank you.
Now that you know a little bit about what we do here, we like to get started with the presentations. Here you will learn more about what the interns did, the challenges they met, and the products and services created. We will start you off with a video that was created this summer to present PE Lab's COVID edition. This video was created by the interns under the guidance of Ms. Clark and Paul Stamper, and our studio from the camera work to the sound, and finally,
Once again, it means a lot that you're here, and we hope you have a great afternoon learning more about PE Labs. Thanks.
Neo, glad I found you, buddy. I want to talk to you. You have no idea what I went through to find you.
Whoever it is, he's not reading like an agent.
Do you know who I am, Neo?
No.
That's fine. I didn't think you would. My name is John Griffin. I'm the Director of Programs.
Of what?
Oh, sorry. Of a summer internship program that teaches kids real-world experience in a multitude of business areas. We call it Pathways Entrepreneurial Labs, or PELabs for short. This year actually marks our 6th year of the program.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks. Thank you, yeah. This was an interesting year for all of us. We had to work remotely through the COVID pandemic to meet the client's needs. It almost seemed like it was impossible to even do PELabs this year. And that's why I wanted... Oh yeah, we have to stand 6 feet apart. And that's why I wanted to find you. I think while working remotely was a successful approach, I think it would have been cooler if we can...
John, we gotta go. I'm sorry, Neo. I gotta borrow John now. We gotta go.
And what reason is that?
Yeah, I was just about to tell him about...
The showcase is about to start, and I need you for the introduction.
Oh man, it's that time already? Okay, got it. I'm sorry, Neo. I gotta go. You think we could continue this conversation later?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
that. Okay. Hello, my name is Sakira Bailey, and this is Bailey's Bakery Business Proposition. For my business idea and solution, I'll be offering Hartford residents delicious, healthy, and gluten-free vegan bakery options. This is in a hope to foster better eating habits in my community. For my customer segments, I'll be mainly offering my products to Hartford residents, people who practice a gluten-free lifestyle and a vegan lifestyle, as well as people who have dietary restrictions. For my value proposition, it aims to help Connecticut residents live healthier lifestyles. As things like obesity and diabetes are on the rise, I hope to offer a healthy alternative to the much-loved bakery items. This is mostly a new idea in places like Connecticut, but I hope to be a part of change. For gluten-free and vegan replacements, milk will be replaced with nut-based milks such as almond and soy. Butter will be replaced with applesauce, coconut oil, and bananas. Flour will be replaced with almond and brown rice flour. Eggs will be replaced with flax seeds and tapioca starch. And chocolate will be replaced with vegan chocolate. Some possible menu items are dark chocolate raspberry fudge brownies, oatmeal cookies, salted caramel chocolate chip cookies, carrot cake, peanut butter cookies, and tahini almond cookies. For customer relationships, I'll engage with them through direct personal engagement. This means when they walk into my store, I'll be able to interact with them, as well as through automatic services such as emails and surveys, where I'll provide them updates to our menu as well as regular customer engagement. For my channels, my products will be offered through direct sales, such as when they walk into the store, and through curbside pickup, which is an alternative to people who are being affected by the COVID-19 virus. Key resources will be through social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. This way I can reach a very diverse range of people of all ages and genders. I will also need experienced bakers to help me prepare some of the various items on my menu, as well as loans from my local bank to keep my business going. Revenue streams will be through local sales. Prices will be fixed for my bakery items, but during holidays or special days, there will be discounts. And people pay through card, cash, and online services. This allows them a very wide range where they're able to buy my product. For activities and partnerships, my key partners will be through local farms where I'll be able to get the freshest produce such as milk, eggs, and all the other dairy items. Through wholesale markets, where I'll be able to get my flour and necessary bakery items. An accountant to keep track of the books, and a social media promoter to make sure my business is reaching a wide range of people. Key activities will be alternative discount days between my competitor. Therefore, if I have a discount on Valentine's Day, he could have one on Christmas. I'll also give away a basket of goodies once per month to approximately the 10th customer. And in these goodie baskets, there will be cookies, cakes, and brownies. And I'll also be doing steady social media promotion. For my cost structure, I'll need an average of $30,000 in loans or money to start my business. Some required products that will be necessary for the function of my business are ovens, tables, chairs, a refrigerator, and stoves. For resources that I'll need to spend money on will be my social media promoter, automated services, and my goodie baskets. Thank you for your consideration. Take care.
Hello, I'm Halayla Sheckman from the Advanced Manufacturing Department of PELabs, and this is Classics Plastics. Car fanatics or automobile addicts, find your next deal at Classics Plastics. So the problem I'm trying to solve is that cars are a huge thing in our lives of transportation. You make memories in them, they're collectible, but their repair costs, accidents, maybe your life changes, and now you have kids and you need to seat 4 people instead of 2. So I'm trying to find an inexpensive way to remember the companions on the road. So it's a small, easy acrylic likeness of your car that you can display anywhere to remember your car. So we're targeting 40s and up, and cars can last up to 200,000 miles or 12 years, which could mean you could have up to 6 cars a lifetime. So I'd want to know, do people feel connected with their cars and why? So there are 78 million cars in America, and the United States is number 2 in car sales, and it's sort of an American thing to go for road trips, which means that you're racking up miles and making more memories with friends and family. So 40s and up are also more likely to be sentimental and have an interest in cars because they've had more time to be around cars and they were born in the classic car era. They're right in the middle of the largest age group for car sales, and they'll stay in that large age group until they eventually move to the second largest age group. So how it works is the customer orders for their specific car. I make a vector and it goes to CO2 laser, and then once it's confirmed with the customer that they're satisfied, then there's a transaction. And I'd want to know, would having a way to remember your car entice you to sell it? And as of 2019, in our part of the United States in the East Coast, the average age of just an everyday car was up to 11 years. So it's convenient, it's small, it's easy, it stands up, it has the likeness of your specific car, and it's custom to your car with, for example, a dent or scratch, not just a general model and make, and there's a satisfaction guarantee. There is some competition, but they're large, bulky models that would take up a lot of desk or shelf space, and you have to wait a long time, and they're expensive. And so my main way that I bond with my father is over cars. And my first memory of being in a car is being in his Oldsmobile and talking about just how much we love that car. And I've worked on several projects with him, including the 77 Chinook. And again, I'm in the Advanced Manufacturing Department of PELabs. So 93% of shoppers use discounts all year round. And this would help with customer relations, especially if there's a loyalty discount. And the piece is custom to your exact car, not a general make and model, and there's a satisfaction guarantee. And I'd like to know, what is valued the most in a business? So the way I'm going to reach the customers is through online and social media advertising, but also putting a priority on in-person transactions like car shows and other events, because older age groups are 39% more likely to shop in person. So with key resources, I'd like to know, is there a preference for businesses with a large number of people? Because of course my business will be very small. And some physical resources I'll need are the workplace, the acrylic, and the software and tech. So maybe the computer and the software on the computer that runs the CO2 laser. Intellectual resources are accounting, marketing, and advertising knowledge. So financial resources are the small loans for the supplies. Because for example, the CO2 laser is $400. So revenue streams, 82% of businesses have switched to subscription models, and I'd like to know what benefits would justify a subscription through the customer's eyes. And there's the product, online and in-person payment, and in priority on in-person transactions, since older age groups are more likely to shop in person. So some transactional revenues are the price of the piece, the type of acrylic, time-dependent discounts, and more than 10. So more than 10 is bulk discounts. Let's say you buy more than 10 in one order, you get a discount. Time dependent, let's say you buy 5 pieces within a year, you get a discount. And then some recurring revenue, there can be different memberships. So bulk membership might mean maybe you run events every month and you want to give them out as favors to the attendants. You can do large orders frequently with discounts. And some recurring customers, maybe someone got one and they realize their brother's birthday is coming up. They want to get them one. And key partnerships. So joint ventures were valued 20% more from 1995 to 2015. And some non-competitive partnerships could be with the acrylic companies, the workspace owner, and the computer owner. Some competitive partnerships, for example, with the custom car models. Maybe someone walks into their shop and realizes they don't want a model that's that big. They can refer to us or the other way around. And with collaboration, maybe there's a really complicated project that we can work together on. And joint venture partnerships, maybe 2 companies in the same space sharing rent. And I'd want to know what % of joint ventures actually succeed. Some buyer-supplier partnerships could be I could buy from small businesses and I could display in smaller local stores. Maybe I display in one corner and they get a piece of whatever revenue is generated. So some key activities are the production. And you get the order, make the vector, bring it to the laser, and bend the bottom so that it stands wherever you're displaying it. Marketing and sales activities are events, advertising, social media, communication, and delivery to the customer. Then there's finance and administrative activities for bank account, financial guidance, and budgeting. So whatever profit is generated is used wisely. And I'd want to know, is it a bad idea to invest small portions of revenue? Is it worth it to try and make the most of it, or is that too risky? And cost structure. I'd want to know, how long is it okay to wait to break even? And some fixed costs are the acrylic, the laser, the heat gun, and the software, once again, that runs the laser. Some variable costs are the acrylic per unit, so how much I buy at a time, like in one order. And the acrylic, depending on the type. For example, clear acrylic is much cheaper than colored acrylic. And then advertising, maybe each time an ad is displayed costs a different amount. And for communication, maybe I communicate with customers through a website. Every time they click on it, there's another charge. So the startup cost total to $460, and for $60, I can get 80 pieces worth of acrylic. So that comes down to 75 cents per piece. So I only need to sell 33 pieces at $15 to already start generating profit. I'm Hola Sheckman. I really appreciate the opportunity to present this, and this is Classics Plastics.
Um, Hello. This my name's Arnold. And this is the Advanced Manufacturing Group of PELabs presentation. My name's Arnold too. I am a sophomore at Pathways. This is my second year at PELabs. A few details about me. Making I like making stuff, like stuff in general, nothing particular. And I'm very interested in fiction and like stuff that could be created from fiction. The groups I worked with for the past few weeks were Travelers and Claws and Paws. For Travelers, I made a I made a card holder that had their logo on it. I don't have a picture of it right now, but the reasoning I had with that was that they meet a lot of clients each day, and card holders are like very important for for letting people know who you are without going on a long speech about who exactly you are. So I thought if they had some place to store it and that they could reach it quickly, they would benefit greatly for that. And my second group, the one I worked like harder on, not that I didn't work hard on the other one, but Claws and Paws. Claws and Paws is um, is a nonprofit organization that helps with animals and veterinary stuff. So what I did for Claws and Paws was this picture right here. It is um it is squirrel holder because squirrels are getting killed at a advanced rate these days by predators, cars, and a lot of stuff. So the a squirrel can give birth in that. They can house their child in that, so their child is safe. And the hole at the top, only a squirrel could access that, so their child would be safe and protected. The design I was making in CAD was an improved version of the design that they had already created. It it has the doors are removed to show you how the inside will look. It has three holes at the outside, so the squirrel has better ease of access. The door the door rotates, so it's easier for the baby squirrel to get out when it matures, and it can just use its body weight to leave. Um, it has different hinges on the side, so the squirrel can um, maneuver its way inside better. And yeah, that's about it for what I worked on. The stuff I learned during this was to be more creative. I Before this, I just looked at a problem and like thought of very common solutions for the problem I was having. But during this, I learned to like look think outside the box and think about what what could make this product even better than it already is. Um, I learned how to I learned more about how to create products in Thinkercad. I only used Thinkercad before, but like I started learning Onshape during this period. I also learned a lot about problem solving. I learned different ways to search up on Google, like using a minus when you don't want a specific result when you're searching something up. Communication. I learned how to communicate with others, how to get their insight, information, knowledge, and help it improve my own project. And I learned how to control my emotions better because if I was frustrated and didn't want to work on a project, I could calm myself down and allow myself to work harder on the project. Yeah, that is about it for mine. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rodrigo, and during advanced manufacturing, I was being creative by coming up with ideas on what will be useful for the company. Travelers, I needed to sketch a model, then transfer it into software such as Onshape, which is a CAD software, and Corel Draw to fix my bending lines when I transfer it into the laser. I also was working on how I can better my products and make it unique and have more beneficial features. While I was in the process of making my product, I was always persevering and not giving up because I knew if I worked harder, it would pay off. And what you can see up on my slide is you can see my sketch on the software Onshape, and you can see all my measurements. The lines in the middle were where I was gonna bend and what I was gonna do when it was gonna come out in the laser. And then the other picture you can see is how I used the laser cutter and a piece of acrylic and cut it, and I was able to bend it to make it the shape I wanted. Thank you.
Right. Just, um,
Go back to it.
you could go to this one.
Could you guys hear me now? Okay. Hi, my name is Shafani Hill Durant. I'm a senior at Weaver High School. My business idea is to make coasters for the travelers and Ready CT. I will be designing coasters with their logos in the middle, and then I will add resin over it so that they will be able to like just stick together and won't fall out. Something I enjoyed doing in manufacturing was working with others interested in like manufacturing. Mr. Rotano has been the best teacher to help me understand more about my interests. Some issues I had trouble with but overcame was making sure I had the right measurements. The more I tried, the easier it got. I had to measure the size of umbrellas so that they could fit the right way. Problem solving skills I learned were to put my best foot forward. You have to have determination, put in the effort and give it all you got. Interesting things I found out while working was that it can help me start my business. Advanced manufacturing has helped me understand the different machines capable of helping me start my custom clothing line. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Hoyla Sheckman. I'm the Advanced Manufacturing Department of PELabs, and there are 5 things I want to talk about with my time in the Advanced Manufacturing Department. First is time. You'd think with 5 hours a week on Wednesdays it'd be a long time, but it never felt like there was enough time, and that I could never get what I planned for each day done, and I always wanted to be there longer. I would consider myself a rather curious person, so I wanted to get used to all the machines, but I only got to 2, which is the CO2 laser and the strip heater, which were both new to me. And the first thing that I wanted to do once I got in the workshop is try and make 3D printed multi-tools. And there were a few reasons why this didn't work out. One, the 3D printer did not want to cooperate. It kept jamming and stopping for no apparent reason. And if you think about 3D printer filament, even ABS filament, which is stronger, it won't be strong enough to be a tool, which is usually metal. It'll just shred and break. Also, 3D printing is not time efficient or cost effective. Next brings me to failing. I learned that's okay to fail and you learn from your mistakes. I made my fair share of small fires in the CO2 laser, so I definitely learned from my mistakes. And lastly, there are two main softwares that I used while I was in the advanced manufacturing department. And the first is Onshape, which is an online program that you can use anywhere that takes sketches and turns them into 3D models that you can use for example, 3D printing. The next is Corel Draw. This one you use different lines to tell the laser what to cut and what to engrave so you can get your piece.
Thank you. That was the advanced manufacturing presentation. Do you have any questions you would like to ask us?
Yes, so our first question is, what was your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it?
I will go first. My biggest challenge was time management, mostly because every time I would come in, I would have something set to do. Then the previous task I had, I would not have. That would have something that would have gone wrong, and I would have to fix it then before I moved on to my next challenge.
One of my biggest challenge during advanced manufacturing was bending the piece of acrylic the right way, because there was when I was going to bend it, a part of the acrylic did not want to bend properly because it was not heated up much. So what I ended up doing was bending it too much, so it got to the point where a piece of it broke off.
This is Shafani. Mine was just making sure I had the right measurements because in order to make your project the right way, you will have to have the right measurements.
My biggest challenge was, as I mentioned, the small fires in the laser, because the different settings for speed and power caused some issues, especially with materials like cork that are extra flammable.
So our next question from the audience is, how has this experience influenced your future plans?
Pardon, I didn't hear the question well.
The question was, how has this experience influenced your future plans?
It experienced my future plans quite a bit. Actually, it has given me more experience with machines, and I know how to use them properly, and I know what can and cannot be done with those machines. So if I have a product I want to make in the future, I would know what's accomplishable in a short amount of time versus what's not accomplishable in that amount of time.
Our next question is, which machines were the hardest to learn and why was that?
For me, the most hardest machine that I struggled with was the laser cutter, because I was very new to it and didn't really know how to work it, and I needed help from the people in advanced manufacturing, and that's something that I still don't really know much of it, but I still learn some of it from the help that I got.
And our next question is, how was math used if you used it, and why was it useful?
Math was used. Math was used quite a lot, actually. It it was it was used because, for example, if you're making a box, if you don't take into account the length, width, as long as the thickness of piece, the piece will not come together well at all. It would just fall apart, not glue together well. So you had to. There were a lot of different components involved, mostly the basics like addition, subtraction, but those added up to make the final piece perfect.
The CO2 laser is also incredibly precise, so you need to be able to measure precisely so that things don't start to go wrong.
Math was also used when putting sketches into software such as Onshape and CorelDRAW, because if you don't have the exact measurements when you're transferring into a laser, you could really cause some damages. But because the laser is different size as you want it, you can't make it too big, more than 12, because that's more than the laser, which can cause problems.
All right, great job. And next up, we have IT and cybersecurity.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the IT department. Today's the Business Expo, and we put together a presentation for what we've learned in the past 10 weeks. My name is Mac Chesney Semmelroth.
My name's Joseph Camiso.
My name is Xavier Rivera.
And my name is Ryan Torres.
So for the terms that we used in the PELabs internship is server, which is basically anything that serves information to other computers. Then we have directory, file, and folder, which is basically the location of stored data. And then we have a database, which is a system of storing and organizing information.
Some terms of computer hardware are sticks of RAM. It is the random access memory. It's basically like the short-term memory of a computer. So every time you restart your computer, all the data on the RAM empties. On the flip side, we have the hard drive. It is the long-term memory where you store all your games, your pictures, your videos, or very cherished memories of your loved ones. But it is slower than a solid-state drive. A solid-state drive, just like a hard disk drive, is the long-term memory. It is more expensive, but it does run faster and it is much quieter because, unlike a hard drive disk, it has no moving parts. Some more computer hardware is the CPU, also known as the central processing unit. It is the brain of the computer and it basically coordinates all the other pieces of it together. The GPU is the graphics processing unit. It's fairly self-explanatory in the sense that it just processes all the information needed to display graphics. And there's also the motherboard, which is that big circuit board on the back that connects all the other pieces of the computer. And for some operating systems, which is basically the program that tells your computer how and what to display. For example, there's Windows and there's Mac, but there's also something called Ubuntu Server, which we use for our MySQL server, and Apache 2, which is our web and database server respectively. We also used an operating system called pfSense for our router configuration, and we also use Windows Server 2016 for our Active Directory and our DNS server. Those terms will be described and defined later.
All right. So what the VPN stands for is for virtual machine, virtual private network, and it basically tunnels your internet traffic through a different network. We use these to access our VMs, which are on a different network, and I'll be explaining what are VMs in the next slide. Um, the way that this works is by changing plus redirecting its direction to a specific server in a way that it can let you send your traffic abroad to other networks for different reasons according to the users and its intentions. So now what Proxmox is a website /OS used to create and develop virtual machines and storing virtual machines in which you can call, create, insert the data of the system you want to copy, or in other words, to recreate. Now what the VM stands for is for virtual machine, which its purpose is to create an environment and or surface to set up base a virtual place or system for the user's purpose. Its components are things such as like the following, like its own CPU, memory, network, interface, and storage. So all of the above are virtual, in some way known as a fake or a copy of a specific system or environment of things like games. And a fun fact is that you can't have the VM take up more resource than the physical VM already has in the server.
So the DHCP, which stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, DNS, which means the domain name system, and the AD, known as Active Directory, all come together to provide services needed for the network. The DHCP is a server/system that provides an IP address, informs what DNS servers to use, and tell where the default gateway is. The DNS is a service that provides a match between the IP address along with the URL. For example, google.com, which translates a number, also used for tablets, phones, computers, and other technological unities. The AD developed by Microsoft, which provides and automates all uses and devices and can group them together.
WordPress is a website that can be used to create other websites. use Linux, Apache 2, MySQL, and PHP. And Linux is basically the operating system. Apache 2 is the publishing website for website files. MySQL is the database server, and PHP is a server-side web programming language. The LAMP stack is basically all of those combined, which is just a list of programs.
All right, so PWM. So what we use is Tomcat 9. We also use the OpenJDK and we use MySQL, which allows someone to go and change their IAD without being a domain admin. So it basically grants us access to access this type of system, so we can do the start doing the process of web hosting.
And a reason we wanted to not just allow anybody to go into Active Directory and change their password is because that's a huge security risk. Because we can't just make anybody an admin for it. So we use this software and wanted to make it so anybody can just log on and change their own password themselves without having to be a domain admin. We had this issue with our router when we were using pfSense. The company pushed a bad update, so we didn't know that, so we downloaded the update, and it basically made it so the router was stuck in a boot loop, meaning it would just continuously restart and it wouldn't stay turned on. So what our facilitator had to do was ask the company for another image, another operating system image of when it was working. So we were able to get that and then re-download it onto the router, and then from there it worked. Some challenges and problems we had were working virtually. I think everybody can understand how much of a pain this can be sometimes. We don't have the in-person communication, and we had to just work through computer screens, which just made it much harder to communicate, especially if somebody's mic was feeding back and having reverb. It just really made communication difficult at times. We also had a lot of command issues. For example, we typed in sudo nano ... and then we put users.xml instead of what we were supposed to put was all of that but user, and that just made it so we created a different file than we needed, and later in the program it was trying to find the folder user, but we only made users. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Do any of you have any questions for us?
Yeah, so we have a few questions from the audience here. What were you, how on earth were you able to work on computers and systems if most of the internship was remote? What software or what tasks and what did you do that allowed you to work on those systems?
We had a VPN that we were able to access from home, and we were able to use the VMs on Proxmox. The VPN allowed us to access our network that we had, and we're able to still continue doing tasks that were needed.
Our next question is, what was the most challenging part of being in IT, and how did you overcome that challenge?
So honestly, the most challenging thing that I had to do when I first became into the IT department was me figuring out and learning everything of all the Linux commands and just everything about computer components, because my knowledge was very scarce and I honestly didn't know very much. So honestly, coming in here as a freshman, I learned a lot, and I think that would be probably the most challenging thing that I faced during the IT department. PELAB.
Our next question is, what is a typical day in IT like? So do you do the same things every day, or was there a lot of variation in your work?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
The question was, what is a typical day in IT like? So do you do the same things every day, or was there a lot of sort of variation in the work you did?
What was a typical day in IT?
So a typical day ID will be just coming into pathways and then just talking to each other about how to um solve different issues that we had with web hosting and stuff like that. We just basically like share information into what we both learn from our teachers and stuff like that. And I believe that something that really helped us was good communication skills, because I joined late, therefore I didn't know some stuff that other people already knew, but I still managed to catch up based on the good communication skills that we had into focusing into what we had to do and what everything was standing for as well.
All right, great job, everyone. And next up, we have the graphic design department.
Okay, so this is the PELabs 2021 graphic design. And my name is Brianna Smith. I have Denaya, Anastasia, and Tim Gibson with me today.
So I'm Denaya Kelly, and I'm gonna explain some of the things that we did about our department. What we did was make personal logos, and used ourselves as our clients to see what we would like, and the different softwares that we use was the software we used was Adobe Illustrator, and this was the first time I was using the software. Um, so to continue. Okay, so this was our first time using this software. So yeah.
So I chose the first initial of my first and last name for my business because I wanted to have the customers know who I am. And an easier way to understand who I am is to know my name because that's usually the first thing that you want to know when you meet a new person. A challenge that I had when I was using the new software was getting to know the commands. But once I got to use it more and got more comfortable with it, it became more easier. And creating the logo, the S was a little bit hard to incorporate with the B, but I got the hang of it once I drew it more than once.
So with my logo, it has a special place for me. So my logo, it stands for everything that I care for, and that makes sense to me, and it helped me recuperate my love for art all over again, getting to draw this out and actually seeing it come to life. So with my logo is basically with the software that we use. It was hard at first, yes, but then I did get irritated a lot. But it's okay. It was fun. I learned. It was fun. It was a good experience. So yeah, that's about it about my logo.
So my logo is the initial of my name, and I chose it because I'm like the only person with my name, and I thought it'd be pretty cool to use my name as my logo. I joined them together because I didn't want them to be too simple, even though they're already simple, and I just wanted my customers to have a connection with me, so that like they know who I am.
Okay, so with my logo, I decided I wanted to make a icon of myself. So I drew this little character here, and that was to really try to put the best version of myself forward. And then I also decided to incorporate my last name into the logo because I am the last Gibson in my family to actually be able to pass on the name. But I also wanted to add that in there because I want when my clients look at my logo to kind of understand that I want more than just, a client and workers relationship. I kind of wanted this family kind of relationship between myself and the people I work with.
So some problems and challenges that we had to face were encountering the stuff on the left side of the screen. And these are the design tools, and we had to be patient with the computers because computers usually are slow when ourselves are faster than the computers usually. And this was a challenge because we had to learn the keys on the computer because on the actual Adobe Illustrator, we could not see the whole down bar of the tools like the selection tool, the direct select tool, the pen tool, etc. So we had to do a keyboard, and if we couldn't find it, we had to search it on the left side.
So with that being said, are there any questions?
Yep.
Are there any
Great
questions
job.
from
So our first question is, why did you pick this area to go into?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. The first question was, why did you pick this area of PELabs to go into?
So, well, Anastasia. So we're gonna let Anastasia answer. Yeah.
Okay, so I choose this area because I thought it would be easier than all the other areas. Plus, when I was in ninth grade, I used to do editing, and I thought it'd just like be very fun to like catch up on things and learn how to edit better.
So our next question is, can you talk a little bit about the software programs you used and which ones were harder to learn than others?
So, oh, the feedback, everybody good? Okay, so to answer that question, we mainly only used Adobe Illustrator to make the logos, and I do want to say that for even for me as somebody who actually has had prior experience with graphic design, it was a little difficult to pick up everything. But once we actually really did get a hold of what it is that we were working with and what it is that we wanted, and with a little assistance, did things did gradually become easier with working with the software itself.
Our next question is, in your opinion, do you have to be a good artist to be a graphic designer?
So you actually do not have to be good at anything. You just have to be able to persevere through like hard times, because there was times where I did want to give up, but I kept going and I kept learning more. So I think anyone can really pick this up.
The next question we had was, what did you enjoy most about this area?
So what I enjoyed most about this area in this department is it really brought me back to drawing. Like I haven't drawn in years. So for that, for me to be able to draw and do that picture and have that meaning, and that picture have that meaning that I really want, it was actually pretty dope to actually learn this different like things we can do with computers actually in general. It's really fun. It was fun. Yeah.
And our final question was, what skills do you think are most critical in your area?
You think you can repeat the question?
Sure. The question was, what skills do you think are most critical in your area? So what sort of skills do you feel are important to have as a graphic designer?
Um, I feel like the skills that are really important, or what I feel is important to understand with graphic design, is that it takes a lot of patience, really. So I feel like you have to be able to understand what it is that, or in a sense, if you're doing it for yourself, you got to understand what it is that you really want out of graphic design. So understanding what tools work best for you, what colors work best for you, and when it comes to designing something for yourself, you want to understand what it is that you're really putting forward. So understanding how to brand yourself, I feel, is really important when it comes to graphic design. So in terms of branding yourself, you have to be able to understand what it is that you're putting out there for other people to see.
All right. Thank you very much. And up next we have web design.
All right. Hello, and today we're going to be presenting to you our website portfolios that we made. I'm Nick, and my teammates are Adriana and Gianna, and let's just kick it off.
So what we made were websites, like personal websites. And for the personal websites, they consisted of taglines. And what the tagline is as you can see where it says like all the lorem, that part, that's a tagline. And what the tagline is like something that grabs the viewer's attention. And it's something that you see when you like search on Google. That's what you would see. That's the search engine. And then a masthead, that's the navigation part where you can like navigate throughout the website. It's easier and faster instead of like having to do all the scrolling. And then we have the about me and accomplishments, and that's where we talk about ourselves, our personal accomplishments, like what we feel most proud of in the what we've done so far. And then lastly, there's a contact me if they have any questions or concerns that they want to ask us, they could just email it to us through that.
Some problem and challenges that we've been through with creating the web design was choosing fonts and colors that best describe us and navigating WordPress. Even with our instructors' help, it was kind of difficult to make this website into what it is now. And the last challenge is how to add in images and other certain edits because they're all over the website and we need to know where to locate them in order to include them in this website.
All right, so this is my website. My website's theme I chose a neon blue with a black background because I really like thinking about like the future and how cool like it could be and stuff like that. And it reminds me a lot of like movies and films like cyberpunk films and like Blade Runner and stuff like that. And yeah, I really like it. I also have the masthead, and I have written out some accomplishments, and I deviated from the path a little bit, and I put a goal in there. And at the bottom, there's a contact me form, and you could put in your name, phone number, email, stuff like that, and whatever you want to say. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
This is my personal website. So what I have is the bottom left corner is where it's my accomplishments. And some of my accomplishments are that I added was an educational accomplishment where I got straight A's throughout my junior year. And that's kind of like been my hardest year, so I'm actually pretty proud of that. And then we have an, and then I talked about my job accomplishments was. Um, my job accomplishment is dealing with two jobs right now while also doing the internship, so that's what I'm pretty proud of. And then my last one was a sports accomplishment was getting better and sticking through with volleyball, even though like times are hard with like COVID and all. And then I put like the purple color with white because I feel like it's like a calm color, but it's still bright so people can see it. And then I added that background because I feel like it's pretty neutral and it doesn't like bring anything away from the font and you can still read it. And then the font is bold and basic because I feel like it's my personal resume. So I feel like that's the best thing to do. If it's like professional, you want like a simple font. But that's it.
This is my website. I've picked these colors because they're simple and they're really inspiring. Also, the logo connects back to this. It connects back to this cursive fonts because it represents elegance and energy. Also, these images, they're free and they're uploaded as PNG and SVG. And there's a contact information anyone wants to know and information. And yeah.
Any
All right,
questions?
great job. So our first question is, this year web design and graphic design were one department. So how did your design skills translate into web skills? In other words, what sort of design skills are involved with web design?
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you saying something? Because I think my volume was off. So
Yes. Yep, we had a
skills.
question from the audience. It was, this year web design and graphic design were one department. So how did your design skills translate into web design skills?
Um, so how they translated is on. I'll use my website as an example. On the first picture in the top left, there was a logo, and I made that, and so I put it there to, I guess, sort of like brand myself, and that was that's one way they could overlap. Another way is if you have like a kind of like a niche, for like design, you could also use that to improve the layout and the look of your website.
So our next question from the audience was, um, what are some of the more technology-oriented skills you learned with the web design department?
Definitely definitely learning how to use Adobe Premiere, I think it was called. Yeah, Adobe. It's this graphic design software that it's essentially like Photoshop, but um, there's few key differences between the two, and getting a hold of that and really learning how to use it was a challenge, and especially because the what we were working on it was a bit slow, so it was not optimized. I guess it was not the best scenario. You know.
All right, so our next question is, what was the most challenging part of being in web design or graphic design, and how did you overcome it?
The most challenging part of being in web design um, was definitely learning because it took a while, especially for me anyway. It took me a while to actually figure out and like what I'm doing, and I had to ask for help a lot of times. Um, and I'd say that's probably the hardest because most of us had no experience with a lot of a lot of the software, and really just web design and graphic design in general. And definitely, once you can overcome the learning curve, things will definitely become a lot easier. And then, yeah.
I'd like to add to that. I feel like with web design, you had to like really understand and remember how to like use and navigate through Elementor because like if you forget, you kind of like mess up something, and if you don't code something right, it'll mess up your whole thing. Like if like for example, like the navigation part, you have to do a specific coding or it's not going to be able to navigate throughout the website. Like if you press like about me, it's not going to go to the about me part. So you have to make sure that you like code it right and make sure that everything's set properly. So I feel like that was pretty challenging.
All right, great job. And next up we have KPMG.
Hello, my name is Jesus Ortiz. I'm part of the KPMG project, and this is our presentation for the project that we were given. My name is Jesus Ortiz. We have Takira Bailey, Ayana Harper, and Emily Linars. We are all students at We Were High School, and we are seniors. Our project was, so we had a problem statement, which was, with the growing gig economy, how can employers ensure contingent workers feel included and proud to work at their companies and not just an extra person who is there, temporary and just going to leave in a little bit of time. So our mission was to develop a strategy or to solve the problem that companies currently have with contingent workers, which is contingent workers feeling out of place.
A gig economy temporary positions are held by temporary workers in organizations. The term gig was originally attributed to musicians who would work at restaurants or concerts for a short amount of time. However, as time progressed, it has now been attributed to people who hold temporary positions. Examples of gig employees include freelancers, independent contractors, and project based workers. A recent survey found that 1 in 3 Americans were considered to be a freelancer in our labor market. In 2018, there are 41 million contingent workers in the U.S. workforce, which makes up about 31% of the total workforce. The gig economy has provided a good alternative for women. In fact, women now outnumber men in this economy. A recent LinkedIn survey found that 81% of freelancers were planning on continuing being a part of the gig economy because they felt that it was the right choice for them. And 47% are considering enhancing their working hours because they love it so much. By 2020, the workforce is expected to make up 43% of freelancers, which is a very striking difference from 1989. The gig economy is especially popular with the younger generation because they value flexibility and making their own choices, and a gig economy allows that.
Contingent workers. In the next 3 slides, I will be answering the questions of what is a contingent worker, what is the percentage of contingent workers are there, and what is the average paid for a contingent worker. What is a contingent worker? A contingent workers are defined in freelance independent constructor consultants or other outsources and non-permanent workers who are hired for a pure project basis. They can work on sites or remotely. However, they are not simply temp workers. Contingent workers are highly skilled experts in their field. They may be provided by a staffing agency or contract directly with the service buyer. Percentage of contingent workers. A market of short-term and freelance workers. There is 38% of contingent workers in the United States. An example of contingent workers are Uber, Airbnb, and Care.com. And the contingent workers contribute over $1 trillion to the U.S. economy. This is a comparison between a full-time worker and a contingent worker. A contingent worker makes $50 an hour, while a full-time worker makes $40,000. That's the basic pay. And for full-time workers, they make $2,000 for a bonus. And contingent workers make $1,200 core project, for our project. Next. Recommendations. Some recommendations we have is to offer a mentor program where permanent workers can act and assist a mentor for a continued worker.
Our target market will be KPMG, contingent workers, and temporary employee services. The marketing plan for internal. Talk to the human resources managers about the benefits of the mentoring program. Identify key leaders in the company and get them on board. Offer incentive for permanent workers to be mentors. Marketing for external. Communicate with contingent workers that mentors are going to begin. Explain benefits of joining mentors the program to the temporary services companies to promote the program. And here's the budget. To do what we want to do, for example, to develop the materials, it take 2 hours, pay them $15 an hour. Say there's 6 employees, the total will be 180. For the surveys, like emailing and texting surveys would be 12 months. You pay them $200 if they win the survey, and then depending on the employees, it'd be $2,400.
In the next following slides, we'll be talking about the SWOT analysis, which is essentially the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of our business plan. For the strengths, our mentoring program allows for better workplace interactions. There are also benefits for both the mentors and the mentees. This will foster a sense of community where the contingent workers will no longer feel left out. And it also allows full-time workers to demonstrate leadership in their organization. For some weaknesses, this may distract full-time workers from their main area since they'll be talking to contingent workers about keeping up with their work or just asking contingent workers how they're doing. The cost of running the program could also be potentially high. And due to COVID regulations, there may not be able to have like coffee dates or go to like lunch or dinner. Opportunities. This will allow KPMG to be a leader in the contingent worker world because this mentoring program is kind of unheard of in this economy. It'll offer a better relationship with contingent workers while they'll get to know the other employees in KPMG. Contingent workers will want to return to KPMG because they saw the kind of community they'll be a part of, and it could allow employees to demonstrate leadership. Some threats would be greedy contingent workers joining KPMG because they heard about like the benefits and they're just in it for the money or the benefits. It may attract mentors who are just looking for the perks of the job because being a mentor, you get a budget for going out to coffee and going out to dinner. So they just may want that. I may not be interested in the aspect of mentoring the contingent workers. Other companies could follow this strategy, which could cause a loss of contingent workers for KPMG. Also, employees may just not be interested in joining this mentoring program.
The benefits of contingent workers is that they gain a workplace mentor and leader which allows them to properly integrate into the workplace and not feel like outcasts. And it also brings a sense of community because now people who felt like if they were just there to get paid, they could feel like they're there with people they get along with. It also allows a decrease in diversion in the workplace between full-time workers and contingent workers, which will make the contingent workers want to return even more. Benefits to KPMG is that it'll improve the productivity since when people are happier, they work better and produce better outcomes. It'll also increase morale amongst workers and allow workers to demonstrate the leadership in their work. Any questions?
So our first question is, what was your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it while working on this project?
I think your biggest challenge was getting the group together. From the beginning of this project, we've had some group members leave, so me and my team, we had to compensate for that and take on more slides and more work. So I would say that was one of the hardest parts of this project.
Our next question is, what is one skill or a category of skills that you gained or improved on during this project?
I would say collaboration. Before we were all individual, but here we had to learn to work as a team.
All right, thank you very much. And up next we have the Travelers Alexa team. 1.
Hello, we are Mindful Morning Routine with the Traveler's Alexa. And we are Taylor, Luke, Malik, Will, and Barat. So, I don't know, does this work? So we are working with Alexa. Our agenda is the Ask the Business Case Report. What did we learn by doing this project? How will we take what we've learned to the next level? And a voice flow demo. So number 1, the ask. We brainstormed to create an Alexa skill that enhances both the employee side of Travelers and also the customer side of Travelers. And next is the business case.
All right, the business case. What is the current situation or issue?
All right, so first of all, we need to understand the issue that many employees are facing, and I'm sure we could all relate to this as well. Employees are concerned with their mental health due to stress, pressure, and the COVID-19 pandemic that has impacted all of our lives. According to our research, we found that 83% of employees dislike working from home. This brought up the question that was asked to employees of how do you want to improve your life? 55% wants less stress, 43% wants to exercise, 41% wants to eat better, and 23% wants to meditate. Now that we understand what they want, it's time to understand how we help them reach these goals. And that's where the Mindful Morning Routine Alexa skill comes in. It includes waking up to positive music that is scientifically proven to stimulate brain cells for a more productive day, mindful practices such as yoga, meditation, stretching, and working out. It helps with mindful eating and hydration throughout the day and helps you maintain a positive intention for the day so that you can stay motivated, and it will help deal with overwhelming tasks and responsibilities.
The feeling that any task is a nuisance will soon disappear if it is done with mindfulness. Continued, improve situation. How does your Alexa skill make this current situation better? It makes you physically healthier, makes you more mindful and more positive. All right, so physically healthier, because you're doing yoga and other stuff, you will become more flexible, more mindful, you'll look at things at a brighter light, which in turn makes you more positive in general. Since you are more mindful, you will have more motivation to do things. The advantages of a skill is it helps you reduce stress, it improves your focus and concentration, it helps relaxation, and it reduces anxiety and depression. Thank you. All right, benefits to internal customers such as travelers, employees. Employees will have more energy, they'll be nicer to colleagues and other people. They'll be healthier, have improved self-esteem, they'll have more drive, and they'll have more longevity for doing work. For travelers, the employees will have more enhanced creativity, more productivity, improved goal setting and end results, and it will be more attractive to potential hires. The monetary costs, this will require AWS. AWS cloud services, those are around $100 just for the cloud services. Effort costs?
Effort cost is maintenance and tech support, and that'll be consist of bug errors and just tech support. And last but not least, next slide. Schedule and timeline. So the start would be the leadership of the traveler leadership team approving the task, as in the checkpoints and milestones would be meeting the teammates, story development, and assigning tasks, weekly check-in, progress report, and monthly debrief with the leadership team. And then the product will be due 2.5 months from the start date. Assessments, if we do. If we take on this Alexa skill and we work to make it a thing, then people will be less productive and mentally unhealthy because of poor morning routines. This will happen if we don't do it. And if we do it, customers and employees will reach their full potential with productivity and mental health. Can we afford this? Definitely. This Alexa skill is going to require more labor than it will money. It's a very cheap skill to have, so we can probably get this done over the summer. And a recommendation, I strongly recommend that we go ahead and make this happen because it'll improve travelers' employees' productivity and their mental health, which will lead them to get more work done.
All right, so moving on to what we learned from doing this project, we learned how to use voice flow, and we learned how to code the Alexa skill itself. We learned how to make a business case for the product that we created and that we were involved in. We also learned how to apply mindfulness in our own lives so that the Alexa skill that we made, we can also use in our own lives. And finally, we also learned how to, not only did we learn the programming side behind creating Alexa skills, but we also learned the business side and how to think about how skills can benefit customers and other travelers' employees. So how can we take what we've learned to the next level? We can take the skills we've learned over the past 10 weeks with us through our professional careers. We can also use the skills that we learned from coding in VoiceFlow to learn how to code other languages or just code more advanced things, giving us like advanced coding opportunities in other companies or just different fields. And finally, we learned what we learned also gave us the ability to improve our Alexa skill and even create new Alexa skills to solve different problems. And finally, we're going to do a little voice flow demonstration. Everybody's going to go through their own part, and we're going to demonstrate what we did. All right, this is the Alexa skill. Whoever wants to go first, they can. So we start over here. This is the good morning section. Here we are. And so when we click on this, this is going to start this stuff. This is going to start the Alexa skill.
Good morning. I hope you slept well. Studies have shown that it is good to set intentions for each day. What are your intentions?
And then we can pick we can pick one of three intentions. So you can intend on manifesting happiness, living through the day, or I don't know yet. And we'll just go with living through the day.
That is okay. We all need a day to relax our brain and chill.
And so that's one part of the skill where it just, sets your intentions for the day. And then we can move on to something like this.
Yeah, I could present my skill.
All right.
So just keep sharing your screen and I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So if you could start it, please.
Welcome to the Mental Health Alexa skill. Let's start off with a few questions. What time do you want to wake up at in the morning?
So you could just put in like 7 or something.
Would you like to set a routine alarm? Setting an alarm for 7 a.m. in the morning. Would you like to only set the alarm for Monday through Friday? Setting a routine alarm for 7 a.m. every morning from Monday through Friday. Alarm has been set.
So it's a little hard to represent the alarm right now because unless we wait till tomorrow and at 7 in the morning. But what it would do, it creates an expression that will subtract 10 minutes out of 7 a.m. So the positive music will actually start at 6:50 and will continue for 10 minutes. And then once the 10 minutes up, it will give an actual alarm, and then will be like time to wake up. So that way you have 10 minutes to stimulate your brain for a more productive day.
So next is the 5-minute wake up routine in the morning, and you are given a choice between yoga, meditation, stretching, and weightlifting. And when you pick one of the 4 options, Alexa will repeat your choice so that you know, and then it will play a 5-minute video that will help walk you through what you're supposed to do for that 5 minutes. And then afterwards, she will say, "Have a great day."
Opening morning yoga.
All right, my darling friends, let's begin with cat-cow. Come into tabletop position. And we'll start to move with the breath. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest, nice and slow. Exhale.
And then for the final part, it's a different, tab here.
All right, so this just gives you, it just gives you 2 simple
Hello,
questions.
this is Mindful
Ask you,
Eating. Would you like
and
to
then afterwards,
start?
we'll give you step-by-step instructions on how to eat mindfully. So this is mindful eating. Would you like to start? Well, if you didn't want to
Are
start
you
mindful eating,
hungry and or
you know,
tired?
but you do. If are you hungry and or tired? All right, so tiredness can also mean that you're hungry and you are depleted from nutrients and other things. So you want to say yes. If you're to
Great.
say no,
You
then it
should
just tells
find
you to eat
some other
another part.
friends to go and eat with you. The more the merrier.
Another part of
Go
mindful
on,
eating is that
I'll
you should eat
wait.
with other friends, because eating with other people just makes you feel more positive about yourself. If you type in done or yes, it'll
Go
tell
pick
you the next
something
step.
at the cafeteria. Keep in mind
This
your
will
daily
tell
caloric
you
and sugar
basic
intake.
instructions on what
You
you should
want
do.
to keep the amount
Keep in
of
mind your
food
sugar
you eat in a
intake
day at
and
around
caloric
2,000 or
intake,
less
because
calories.
those are the 2 main things people don't really follow. Once you're done, you got your food, it just leaves you with
Great.
a message
This is all I
saying,
have to
remember,
say.
stop eating when you're
But
full,
remember, you should stop eating
and
when you are full, even if there is a little
yeah,
left in the bottom.
when you're full, stop eating and just, throw it out.
And that's the end of our presentation. Feel free to ask any questions that you may have.
All right. Thank you very much. Our first question is, have you ever done a business case before? And if not, what was the big learning curve of doing this?
I think so. I haven't done a business case, and I think the biggest challenge for me was framing the product around a consumer. So like creating a product for somebody else to use, not something that I would use personally.
Our next question is, what was your biggest challenge on this project and how did you overcome it?
I feel like our biggest problem was learning how to code the Alexa skill itself in VoiceFlow. But after like the first couple weeks of learning how to, set up the variables and expressions and all that stuff, I think we got it pretty fast.
And our last question sort of goes off of that a little bit. How hard was it, in your opinion, to actually learn VoiceFlow? And what sort of skills do you think you got out of it while learning that?
All right. So with VoiceFlow, I feel like that it was, well, obviously it was pretty easy to pick up because it's block-based programming. And because even though it is block-based programming, some people may say, oh, that's not real code, you don't have to write it out. But we learned how to think like programmers and how to use the blocks to our own advantage.
All right, thank you very much. And up next we have the Travelers App team.
My Traveler's mobile app. My name is Jamila Higgins. My teammates are George and Christy, Renicia Roden, Deidre Hewitt, and we're all seniors at the Weaver High School. Project overview. The My Travelers app project focuses on recommending changes to the mobile app. The recommendations to the app, hopefully, will better the experience for both the Travelers company and its customers.
Description of the app. The Travelers mobile app puts policy billing and claim information through My Travelers all in one place, anytime your customers or policyholders need it. The Travelers mobile app gives the customers instant access to many of the same great services they find on the My Travelers website, such as paying bills, filing claims, accessing policies, all while they're on the go. Benefits of the app to customers. The insurance app can remind people about the expiration of about their policies and about various discounts. Quick access to information. And in the mobile app, customers can find any information they need about your company in seconds. Information can be accessed through a single interface, and the insurance app usually have a geolocation feature. If an incident occurs and a customer is confused and doesn't know their exact location, for instance, the insurance agent may be able to use this feature to find out where they are. Customers can get immediate access to information on what they should do in this case of an incident. The app benefits of the app to claims representative. The app plays a major role to claims representative. This is so because without the app, everyone would be calling at once. However, the app provides a constant connection with customers. If your operators are busy or not available, the app is always there with the directions for the customers.
Market research. For market research, we each collected and analyzed information about competitive companies, companies like Allstate, Geico, State Farm, USAA, and Progressive. USAA has many similar features to Travelers, but the one thing USAA has that Travelers doesn't is being able to send money through Zelle. Allstate has all similar features, which are getting an auto ID card, request roadside assistance, and report claims. Progressive also has similar features to Travelers, but the one thing Progressive has that Travelers doesn't is offline services, and with offline service, it's being able to navigate the road within the app without internet connection.
SWOT analysis is what your company does while it identifies areas for improvement. This is a strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Strength. Within the app, there are strength, weakness, opportunities, and there could also be improvement for the app to stand out from the rest of its competitors. The strength within the Travelers app is its layout. The service is easily understandable, the policies and claims are automatically saved, and its customer service is remarkable. The weakness is that it doesn't have a live chat. Statistics shows that 90% men are colorblind and women are also colorblind. On the app, colors are dull and therefore this will cause difficulty reading and navigating. Opportunities for the app, you will have a QR code, a dash cam, and NFC tags. Unlike QR code, NFC tags do not require an extra application. The NFC tags already comes built into majority of smartphones. Threats. Threat includes anything that can negatively affect your business from the outside. There are threats such as availability to all age and security breach, such as cyber attacks.
My teammates and I went ahead and looked up some recommendations that we think are useful, such as availability offline, brighter colors, simpler words, live chat, and camera access from the app. Adding offline functionality to the app will make the users more loyal to the app because users can access their data regardless of an internet connection. The app becomes faster and loads quickly. It is also very important to use the right color combination at the time of customizing the app because it sets a mood for the customers. Insurance apps need to evoke security, truthfulness. And this is where the chatbots come in because it can educate customers on how to process things, compare, and suggest the optimal policy for multiple carriers. And based on the customer's profile, it inputs what could be suggested and where live chat comes from. And we are Travelers app, and thank you for your time.
So great job. Our first question is, what was your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it while doing this project?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. The question was, what was your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it while doing this project?
Our biggest challenge so far was finding competition, finding the differences with our competition. Because when we checked with our app and our competition, we noticed that we didn't have offline features. And that's a big part in today's society because you could be somewhere and there's no internet. And if there's no internet, you won't be available to file a claim or get the help you need.
Our next question was, what did you learn by doing this project?
From doing this project, we learned that technology plays a big part in today's society. And with the help of technology, we make things easier because we could access everything on our phone or just at the palm of our hand. And from doing this project, we learned that incidents occur all the time. And the best thing to go about this is finding the best insurance company to cover that and less their expenses. Thank you.
And the final question was, what did you enjoy most about this project, or what was your favorite part?
One thing I think we all enjoyed about this company is getting to know more about the Travelers company itself and also the app. Like I don't think we knew much about about Travelers being an insurance company, and throughout this whole program we learned more about Travelers and we were educated about Travelers.
And we actually have one more question from the audience. What will you do with what you know, now that you've learned new skills?
Repeat the question, please.
Sure. The question was, what will you do with what you now know? So since you've learned new skills by doing this, what will you do with that new knowledge?
Now that we've learned these skills, I think we'll all use these in our everyday life, uh, even for when we get older, how to navigate through insurance and find the best policies that's best for us.
All right. Thank you very much. Up next, we have our closing speakers.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Ayana Harper, Insurance and Finance Intern with Halea, Advanced Marketing Intern. We hope you had a great experience today and learned about a bit what we do.
We are all so proud of Pathways Entrepreneurial Labs and the many things we have accomplished in these 10 short weeks, and we are very pleased to be able to share it with you today.
We learned and used many new technologies. We have presented and critiqued each other. We have become better cooperation and commitment and experienced a professional work climate while learning from others and ourselves become more professional. We earned an mutual certifications and develop and business skills. We have gained many skills and more experience over the course of our time. We now have necessary knowledges to become vital members of the workforce in all of the areas. Not to mention, we have gained some more valuable financial experience too.
Those of you who are so kind as to support our program, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You have helped to make all you've seen possible, and hopefully you agree with us that your contributions went to excellent use.